Imagine standing before a colossal concrete giant, its walls towering, its presence overwhelming. Welcome to CCOT, where the story begins with awe and suspense. CCOT, the Terrorism Confinement Center. It sprawls across a remote valley, a fortress under the Central American sun. This isn't just a prison. It's a message carved into El Salvador's landscape. Built in just 7 months, CCOT is the largest prison in the Americas, designed to hold 40,000 of the country's most feared gang members. These aren't petty criminals. Inside are the soldiers of MS-13 and Barrio 18, gangs that once terrorized this nation. For years they ran the streets and the prisons from behind bars. CCOT was built to end that era, to be a black hole for gang power. No contact with the outside world, no control, no hope. The air here is heavy, charged with dread and finality. This is the last chapter in a long, bloody story. Before CCOT, gangs ruled even from prison with phones, weapons, and influence. Now the state has seized back control. Razor wire, watchtowers, and armed guards send a clear message: this is the end of the line. But as I look at these walls, I wonder, does this fortress represent justice or something darker? Is it a necessary evil or a step too far? To understand CCOT, you have to understand the terror that gripped El Salvador, and the man who vowed to end it. This place is more than a prison. It's a symbol of a nation's desperate fight for survival. The question is, at what cost? To answer that, we need to go back to when the gangs ruled the streets. Only then can we understand why CCOT exists, and what it means for El Salvador's future. To understand CCOT, you have to understand Nayib Bukele. Young, media-savvy, and relentless, Bukele came to power in 2019 promising to do what no one else could: break the gang's grip on El Salvador. For decades, Mississippi, 13 and Barrio 18 were more than gangs. They were a shadow government, ruling neighborhoods through fear and violence. El Salvador had one of the world's highest homicide rates. Bukele saw a nation paralyzed by terror and decided the old ways had failed. Negotiation, rehabilitation, truces, none worked. So he declared war. He labeled the gangs terrorists and promised to treat them as such. The world watched in shock as Bukele unleashed a full-scale crackdown. Critics warned of human rights abuses and authoritarianism, but for many Salvadorans, Bukele's iron fist was a lifeline. He flooded the streets with soldiers and police, rounding up tens of thousands. The old prisons overflowed. The system was at breaking point. Bukele needed a solution, a place to contain the arrested gang members, to break their power for good. He built CCOT. Supporters call him a savior, the man who gave them their country back. Critics call him a dictator, dismantling democracy in the name of security. But the results are undeniable. Extortion has stopped, murders have plummeted, and people walk their neighborhoods without fear. For Bukele's supporters, CCOT is the ultimate symbol of victory over the gangs. For his critics, it's a warning sign of unchecked power. The truth is more complicated. Bukele's crusade has changed El Salvador forever. The question is, what has the country gained, and what has it lost? CCOT is the answer to that question, for better or worse. It's a monument to a promise kept, and a price paid. The world is watching, and so are the people who once lived in fear. The war on gangs needed a weapon, the state of exception. In March 2022, after a weekend of mass killings, Bukele's government declared a national emergency. Constitutional rights were suspended. Police and military gained sweeping powers. Arrest without warrant, hold suspects longer, intercept communications. The effect was immediate. El Salvador's homicide rate plummeted. For ordinary people, the change was dramatic. Shopkeepers stopped paying extortion, bus drivers worked without fear, children played outside again. But this peace came at a price. Human rights groups sounded the alarm. Mass arrests, little due process, reports of innocence swept up. The state of exception, meant to be temporary, became the new normal. Critics accused the government of using the crackdown to silence dissent and consolidate power. With over 70,000 arrested, the old prisons collapsed under the strain. The government needed a new kind of facility, one built for permanent confinement, not rehabilitation. CCOT became the physical embodiment of this new era. It's not just a prison, it's the final destination for those deemed enemies of the state. The debate now, is this justice or the sacrifice of rights for security? In El Salvador, that question is no longer theoretical, it's reality. Entering CCOT is like breaching a military fortress. 7 rings of security stand between you and the prison's heart. It starts at a distant checkpoint, your identity checked, your purpose questioned, phones, laptops, cameras confiscated. No connection to the outside world. Every step is monitored, every move scrutinized. You're searched, scanned, and stripped of privacy. Metal detectors, X-rays, biometric scans, layer after layer. The guards are elite, armed and unsmiling. Orders are sharp, conversation non-existent. The atmosphere is pure intimidation. You are not in control here. By the final gate, you're cut off from the world you knew. Thick steel doors slam behind you. You're inside the belly of the beast. The security isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's designed to break down anyone who enters, to remind you of the state's absolute power. For visitors, it's a brief ordeal. For inmates, it's forever. The message is clear. Escape is impossible and hope is in short supply. CCOT is a fortress built to contain not just bodies, but the very idea of resistance. Here, the state's authority is total, and the outside world feels very far away. This is the new reality for El Salvador's most feared men. For new inmates, arrival at CCOT is a ritual of humiliation and control. Shackled, barefoot, heads shaved, they're stripped to shorts and forced to run in line. The bravado of the streets is left at the gate. Inside, they're herded into a white-tiled room, searched and scanned with airport-level technology. Privacy and dignity are gone. Tattoos, once badges of honor, are cataloged as evidence. They're issued a uniform white shorts, nothing else. No shoes, no shirts, no comfort. A quick medical check, then it's off to the cells. The process is cold, efficient, and dehumanizing. The goal: erase identity, break spirit, and sever all ties to the gang world. Inmates become numbers, absorbed into the anonymous mass of the mega prison. The message is clear: the old life is over. Here, the state decides who you are, and who you will never be again. CCOT is not about rehabilitation, it's about total submission. Life in CCOT is a relentless, monotonous grind. Lights never go off, there's no natural light, no sense of time. Cells are vast, overcrowded, and stripped of privacy. Toilets and showers are in the open, under constant guard surveillance. Inmates are locked down 23 hours a day. No workshops, no education, no recreation. The only escape is a remote legal hearing or punishment. Boredom and isolation are weapons here. Tools to break the mind. Communication is tightly controlled, even hand signals are watched. The goal: destroy the gang's power by atomizing its members. No brotherhood, no organization, just individuals, alone and powerless. The routine is designed to erase hope and identity. In CCOT, the gang dies. All that remains is the individual, stripped bare. This is punishment by design. Sleep in CCOT is another form of punishment. Inmates lie on steel bunks, stacked 4 high. No mattresses, no pillows, no blankets. The lights never dim, making true rest impossible. Overcrowding means no personal space. The air is thick and stifling. The bunks are solid steel, welded to prevent hiding contraband or passing notes. Comfort is forbidden. Sleep is reduced to a basic necessity. The design is meant to exhaust and break down resistance. Sleep deprivation is built into the architecture. There's no escape, even in dreams. Every detail reinforces the message: this is a place of punishment, not rest. The mind and body are kept on edge, day and night. In CCOT, exhaustion is part of the sentence. The relentless pressure never lets up. Here, even sleep is a battleground. Break the rules in CCOT, and you face the punishment cell, the Saya Chalet. It's a windowless, pitch-black room. No bed, no light, just a toilet. Inmates are left alone in total darkness, sometimes for days or weeks. The isolation is absolute, designed to break even the toughest. The threat of the dark cell keeps most inmates in line. Food is another tool of control: 2 cold meals a day, usually rice, beans, and a hard-boiled egg. No variety, no flavor, just enough to survive. Meals are eaten with hands from metal trays. There are no luxuries, no family visits, no phone calls, no letters. Inmates are completely cut off from the outside world. They have no idea what's happening with their families or neighborhoods. Life is reduced to concrete walls, steel bunks, and the orders of the guards. This total isolation is perhaps the harshest punishment of all. It's a living death sentence existence without connection or hope. Every aspect of life here reinforces the state's total control. CCOT is not just a prison, it's a world apart. The message: you are forgotten. The outside world moves on. Inside, time stands still, and the punishment never ends. The government insists CCOT and its iron fist policies are necessary. For years, El Salvador was held hostage by gangs. Negotiations and rehabilitation failed. The murder rate has dropped by over 90%. Extortion has nearly vanished. Officials point to these numbers as proof. Tough measures work. The government's message is simple: public safety comes first, even if it means sacrificing some rights. CCOT is showcased as a symbol of order, not suffering. Images of tattooed gang members herded into the prison are meant to show the state's dominance. The narrative, the days of gangs are over. Inmates are labeled terrorists, not political prisoners. Harsh conditions are justified as justice for victims. The government believes this is the only way to ensure El Salvador never returns to chaos. For them, the debate is settled. CICOT and the state of exception have split opinion in El Salvador and beyond. Most Salvadorans support Bukele crime is down, fear is gone, and daily life has improved. For many, harsh measures are overdue justice for years of suffering. The lack of comfort, the isolation, these are seen as what gang members deserve. But human rights groups warn of a darker reality: arbitrary arrests, eroded judicial independence, and the risk of innocent people trapped in the system. They argue CICOT is a human rights black hole where due process is lost. The state's tactics, they say, risk mirroring the brutality of the gangs themselves. The core question remains: how far can a society go to restore order? Can you fight terror without becoming what you fear? El Salvador has chosen the iron fist security above all else. The country is safer, but at what cost? The world watches, wondering if CICOT is justice or the start of a new kind of fear. In the end, the concrete walls of CICOT stand as both a promise and a warning. The future of El Salvador and its soul hangs in the balance. The story isn't over, and the world is still watching.